Welcome to the Hundredfold Journey. We help people step out of religious bondage and into true abundance. We invite you to embark on a journey, a spiritual journey called the Hundredfold. At a Hundredfold, we are a group of people developing new thoughts, habits, and beliefs to understand our true identity, to live our life purpose and experience the abundant life just the way Jesus did. Our mission is to provide support, encouragement, and resources to help you on your journey. The life you are meant to live is closer than you think. The journey is the destination, and your journey starts now. Good morning, Doug here from the Hundredfold Journey. Thanks again for joining us on this Grace Awakening Network program. We're on a journey with you to help you to know your true identity, live your life purpose, and experience true abundance. Because a Hundredfold is about a group of people who are looking to find their true identity, and by doing so, finding God's true identity. So thanks for joining us today. We are in a series called I Am the Dwelling Place of God. And what we're doing is we're looking at the Old Testament in the tabernacle. This is the one that was in the wilderness that Moses put together with the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is a representation of who we are, oddly enough, and we'll show that in just a minute. But just to 1 Corinthians 3:16 says, you are God's temple and God's Spirit lives in you. So that's us. It's speaking about us. And then John 17 says, I've given them the glory you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. So these are the words of Jesus saying that we are one with God. He is in us. We are his dwelling place. We are his temple. So today we're looking at the Table of Showbread. As we've gone through each of the furniture, we did the bronze altar, bronze laver, the golden lampstand was last week, and then today we're covering the Table of Showbread. What I have found interesting is they relate perfectly to the chakra body as we do the root, sacral, solar plexus, the heart, throat, third eye, and the crown chakras. And you can see how it perfectly lines up with the temple furniture. So today we're looking at the Table of Showbread, which is the heart chakra, which in the temple, it's the middle one, right? It's the very center of the tabernacle as well as the chakra body. So we're going to talk about that and show you what that looks like. Then each week I kind of cover this, which as we progress through the different pieces and of the furniture, you'll see the Table of Showbread also relates to the 7 words in Genesis 1, which is creation, the 7 colors of the rainbow, and then each of the symbols that they represent. So the Table of Showbread is the middle word of Genesis 1:1, and it's actually a hyphen. An interesting thing is the Jewish scholars, if you look that word up in Hebrew, the word, they call it, it's untranslatable, yet it's used like 30,000, I think is the word, 30,000 or 3,000. I think it's 30, numerous, thousands of times in the Old Testament. And, it's usually translated and, right? God created the heavens and the earth. It's the word and, but what I believe is that it is a symbol of Christ, because Christ shows up and he is untranslatable, if you will. He's just is. That's who he is. But who he is our heart and its love and healing. Hence the reason for the chakra, right? The heart chakra. He is love and healing. And he's in the center of it all. He's in the center of creation. He's in the center of the tabernacle, and he's in the center of our life, which is pretty amazing. All right, so let's talk about the heart chakra. It's like, okay, Doug, what is the heart chakra? So the heart chakra represents love. It represents the heart, the lungs, the shoulders, the ribs, the breast, the diaphragm, the identity in Christ, and self-acceptance. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this. I think it's very powerful. I think this may be the most powerful energy center that God created in our body. Known as the heart chakra, it is related to love, and God is love. He has created us to love deeply, feel compassion and empathy, and be gracious and loving to others as He has been towards us. This is where our physical body meets our spiritual body, right? The two right in the middle, right? When our heart is healthy and we realize our true identity in Christ, we have a peace that passes all understanding and a joy that this world cannot give nor take away. Our thoughts, our emotions, our actions are all powered by love. So we want to continually check in with our heart to make sure we are keeping it clear of all junk, right? The stinky thinking. So the way that our heart chakra reveals itself is if it's blocked, then you lack empathy, you're bitter, you're hateful, you have trust issues, you're intolerant. In an overactive one, we're jealous, codependent, self-sacrificing, and give too much because we give too much thinking we need to receive. Now, balanced is where we're peaceful, loving, compassionate, tolerant, warm, and open. So when we know our heart chakra is in balance, this is how it will manifest in our lives. So the cool thing is, as we've been looking at each and every week, when we see our chakra that's out of balance, then we can say, oh, well, it's related to loving and compassionate, um, and the feelings and the emotions that I have. Then you immediately know there's something in my heart, maybe some forgiveness that needs to be given. So you can see it and then focus your attention on that region of your body. Now, the question is how do we get that in balance? And what's amazing is the tabernacle shows us some things that we can do. And we'll share that in just a second. All right. So let's talk about the table of showbread. So again, this is the piece of furniture that's in the tabernacle, and these were the instructions on how this piece of furniture was to be built. So we find this in Exodus. Then make a table of acacia wood, 36 inches long, 18 inches wide, 27 inches high. Overlay it with pure gold and run a gold molding around the edge. Decorate it with a 3-inch border all around and run a gold molding along the border. So basically, you have a table made of wood that is overladen with gold, pure gold. Then place the bread of presence on the table to remain before me at all times. So we'll talk about what the bread is, but basically there were loaves of bread that were placed on the table. Hence the reason for the table, right? You don't want to put bread on the ground. You want to put it on the table. And then Leviticus, you must bake 12, and here's the loaves of bread. You must bake 12 flat loaves of bread from choice flour, using 4 quarts of flour for each loaf. Place the bread before the Lord on the pure gold table and arrange the loaves in 2 stacks with 6 loaves in each stack. Put some pure frankincense near each stack to serve as a representative offering, a special gift presented to the Lord. Then every Sabbath day, this bread must be laid out before the Lord as a gift from the Israelites. It's an ongoing expression of the eternal covenant. So bread represented an eternal covenant. The loaves of bread will belong to Aaron and his descendants, which are the priests, who must eat them in a sacred place, for they are most holy. it is the permanent right of the priest to claim this portion of the special gifts presented to the Lord. All right. So a lot of words there, but basically it's describing the table of showbread, that of how it's built and what the requirements are. Very specific details. So here is a picture of where these elements, these pieces of furniture are located. So we talked about the altar, the brazen altar, and the washing bowl. I forgot what the name of it was, sorry. But that's where we talked about the mirror, right? Life is a mirror which reflects back. And then last week we talked about the solar plexus, which was the golden lampstand. And then this is where the heart chakra is, the table of showbread. Now notice it's inside. You can't see it, right? It's under these I call them, they're not blankets, but they're covered over inside the temple. And here's a picture of kind of what it looks like. And this is as you walk in the door, and on your right side is where the table of showbread is. On the left side is where the golden lampstand and the altar of incense is in front of us. And here's another view, kind of a side view of what it looks like. So there's where the positions of the furniture are. So just a couple of quick notes, and this is kind of a top view of what it looks like here. There's also some wine that are on the table, which I didn't find didn't show the verse, but there's also wine on the table. And then John 10:9, and Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. This is the seven I am statements, right? So I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. So there's the bread and the wine. And then John 15, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser, being the wine. So again, a beautiful picture of communion, right? The bread and the wine. All right, so the location, the table of the showbread is inside the holy place. So that means it's not visible from the outside. It is located on the right side of the room. The right side is the north side of the temple as we work east to west, as we're walking through, right? On the right side will be the north side. The right side is always considered the power of God. Isaiah says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed. I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand, his right hand of power. And then John 21 says, throw your net on the right side. If you remember, the disciples were fishing, Peter in particular were fishing and didn't catch anything. And Jesus says, throw your net on the right side. And they caught a bunch of fish. So the right side is of honor and power and strength and provision. Right? All right. So here's the contents and material. So we start with the table. The table, again, acacia wood overlaid with pure gold, and then it had a golden border around it. And then it also had four rings at the four corners and two gold poles, as you can see. So this was to be carried from place to place. As you know, the tabernacle was a moving tabernacle. It wasn't a permanent structure. So it needed to be able to be moved from place to place. So the bread, which are also called cakes of the presence, choice flour to make the 12 cakes. Each one had 1.2 pounds of flour, set on two stacks, and it's only to be eaten in the holy place. You couldn't take it outside the temple or outside the holy place. It was to be eaten inside and inside only. Then there was wine, which was a quart's worth of wine, and then frankincense, which was pure frankincense on each row to be a memorial portion for the bread of the everlasting covenant. So here's the contents and everything that's on there. Now let's look at the symbols. So I'm going to ask those that are online some questions, and maybe they could help understand what these symbols mean. So if we look at the table, what do you think the table represents for those that are online? How might that be a symbol of who we are? How would you answer that question?
It's it's like our body, our
Yep. Yep. It's like a body within a body to some degree, right? Because the temple, the tabernacle is a complete, and then this table is complete. So what about its construction? What about the table is a symbol, a representation of us?
um it's like a foundation. We're not really sure.
So the acacia wood,
Mm.
right? So the
Mm.
table was made of wood and overlaid with order. So we shared the last couple of teachings that wood represents man and gold represents God,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
So you could say that this table is 100% man and 100% God. And that's who we are. We're 100% man and 100% God because we are his dwelling place. He has made us gold, right? We are wood. And acacia wood, as we remember back a couple of lessons ago, it's a very strong wood that doesn't rot. And then you overlay that with gold and it's perfection. And then the two poles that are used, you could almost say that they're it again, it's portable, but then it's a walking blessing. So as this thing moves around, it's considered a blessing. And the two poles could be, our legs for transportation. All right, how about the bread? How is the bread a symbol of us?
um it's our sustenance. Like
Yes,
he is our life, our sustenance.
yes, yeah, our provision, absolutely. And then and then as you just think about, deeply the making of the bread, super simple. It was just flour and water, basically. Simple, easy. It's time consuming. You have to spend time to put it together. You have to bake it, right? Which means it comes under some pressure, and then you eat it and you digest it. So when we think about our lives and whether it's on the Word of God or just on our identity and just how simple it can be, sometimes we make life really difficult, but it's designed to be simple and easy. Two elements, right? Water and flour. You just need some time. You bake it, you eat it, you digest it. And then you eat it in the holy place, right? You're not supposed to go outside. You're not supposed to find it out there. The world has a lot to offer for us to chew on, to eat on. And I'm not talking about McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell. What I'm talking about is, hey, buy this and you'll be happy. Look a certain way and you'll be happy. Um, or the negativity of politics or whatever it might be. We're not supposed to find it out there. It's in the holy place. It's right here. We need to eat, digest that bread that's within us because Jesus said he's the bread, and if you eat of me, you'll never you'll never go without. And then there's 12 loaves, 12 tribes. And the cool thing about that is that there were none left out. Well, Simeon, that Simeon tribe, they screwed up. So let's only do 11 loaves. No, it was all 12, all were represented. There was none that were left out. So, and the 12 loaves represents the 12 tribes of Israel. And then how about the wine? What might that be a symbol for us for wine?
It's like represents um that we will never thirst.
Yeah. 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 And then wine also represents blood, which is
Hmm.
a celebration, which is the covenant. The new covenant is in the blood, which means that we are pure, we are holy, and there's cause for celebration. And then the last one is frankincense. What do you think that represents?
Our senses? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a gift, right? It's an aroma that's pleasing. The only purpose for frankincense is just to be an aroma, a pleasing aroma, a gift. And that's what we are to God. We are a gift to God. We're a pleasing aroma to him in his presence, in the temple inside of us. And it was a gift. It was said that use it as a gift to the Lord. And that's who we are. We are a gift to him. We are worth uh, uh, he we're a gift he wants, let's put it that way. And then of course when Jesus was born, right, they gave him frankincense, which was um, the gift. Now when I did the seven I am statements, I actually went into the Hebrew. And what I did there is I described how the Hebrew language has symbols for each of the words. And I thought it would be good just to revisit this. So the Hebrew word for bread is lechem. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, which is bread or food. And when you look at the symbols for bread, and bread is spelt with these three Hebrew letters, lambda, cheth, and mem. Again, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but the symbols that are associated with those letters are the staff, inner room, is mighty. So when the Israelites would say the word bread, and they would write those down. Every time they would write it down, the symbols would represent the staff in a room is mighty. So the staff represents power, right? It's the ability to move forward. And Cheth is the inner room. Isn't that amazing how the bread ties to the inner room that is within us because we are the temple. And that's where we eat the bread is in the inner room and then is mighty. And we talked about it being on the right hand side, and it's the power of God. So there is strength, there is might within the bread. So I thought that was pretty cool. The staff in a room is mighty. That's what the bread represents. All right, so now the purpose. Specifically a table which holds the bread, wine, and frankincense, right? It's pretty okay. It just holds things up so you're not putting things on the ground. It's as a continual memorial. It's there all the time, right? So the bread, wine, and frankincense is always there. It's continual. Every Sabbath day he shall set it in order before the Lord continually. It is an everlasting covenant for the sons. And basically, what that means is that on every Sabbath, which by the way is Saturday, they would take the 12 loaves. The priests could eat them, and then they would replace them with 12 new loaves. So it would be fresh every 7 days. And there's that 7 day cycle, right? Every 7 days, 12 new loaves would be put on the table and only the priest could eat the bread. And that all changed. So the change of when Jesus became our high priest, he fed the 5,000. So that rule of it could only be the high priests changed because Jesus distributed the loaves to the masses. Now anyone and everyone was able to eat and have their fill. And that is because First Peter says that we are a royal priesthood, a holy nation. So in a sense that when Jesus kind of said, all right, now everybody can participate, that means everybody is a high priest and a royal priesthood. So now we have the ability to eat whenever we want inside the temple. That was given to us as a gift. All right, let's look at the shadow. God supplies all our needs, even as simple as a loaf of bread. It's also in the Lord's Prayer. Give us this day our daily bread. Um, and then Jesus says, I am the bread of life. And then in Revelations, it actually says, he who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, I will give him hidden manna to eat. And that hidden is within us. And then when Jesus was born, they gave him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So frankincense is the gift that we are a gift to God. And then the other shadow is the institution of the Lord's Supper. And curious that it was in an upper room, in a room. And then I'm running out of time, but basically it was revealing that the bread and the wine is part of the new covenant. And Jesus says, break, this is my body in the new covenant, and this is the blood, and do this in remembrance of me. So a gift given to us, which represents the new covenant, God in me as me. And then we have fellowship. When we meet with other people, we break bread, right? So in a sense, we are fellowshipping with it. It's a sign of fellowship. So when we eat the bread that is within us, it's fellowship with God. It's one-on-one with him. And it's continual bread, continual fellowship, never broken. And then Jesus says, people do not live on bread alone, but every word that comes from God. So that bread is the symbol of God's word to us. And he speaks to us all the time. And when we listen, when we eat it, when we digest it, it becomes part of us. All right. That's it for this morning. Next week, we're going to talk about the altar of incense. So again, thanks for joining us today. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have an extensive YouTube channel, so please reach out there. And then, of course, you can always go to our website, thehundredfoldjourney.com. There's the QR code, and you can reach out to me personally by emailing me at doug@thehundredfoldjourney.com. Thanks for joining us this morning, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.